you guys got to find better candidates. You can't get the Wicked Witch from the West, and I'm sorry, but have you seen the campaign colors? I mean, we talked about this yesterday. I almost fell over. So, you know, there's that show, Wicked. It's about the Wicked Witch of the West. And it's a neat musical. I think it's on Broadway now. And it's vomit green and black. That's the colors for the show. And what did Kamala go with? Putrid, vomit, green, and black. Because this makes her, quote, brat. Now, if you don't know what brat is, you're a lot like me. And by the way, I'm not the only one, because I know a lot of cool kids and I know a lot of young people, and I asked around and nobody knew what the heck this brat thing was. So these are the brat colors. There's some singer out there on TikTok who has some silly song and defines this thing because she's got a Brat album. And Brat is basically a hot mess, like a really, really messy girl that just screws up and is very emotional and just kind of all over the place, but then pulls it together somehow, some way. That's Brat. Well, we don't want a brat. Okay, like we don't want anything like that for the President of the United States. Again, this is the first female President of the United States with her vomit green. I mean, whatever happened to red, white, and blue? I'm sorry, call me a traditionalist. I'm thinking red, white, and blue. Thank you very much for the colors for a campaign for the presidency. No, not Kamala. She wants vomit green and black. Okay, well, it's not helping her. So they think it's all going to come together somehow, some way. Not unless they get something else up their sleeve. And by the way, I wouldn't put it past them. We'll leave that aside for just a moment, because these are real things that we are going to have to talk about. Reminder, subscribe. Hit the like, hit the share, make a comment. Do you think that Kamala has a real shot? Are you worried about Kamala Harris? Let me know in the comments there below. But Kamala Harris isn't even polling well with the young people. I want to share some of this data with you because I think that Barack Obama ought to take a look at this. Here we go. This is political polls coming from Quinnipiac. Wow. Trump is up over 19 points compared to Kamala Harris. I mean, this makes Joe Biden look like, I don't know, a matinee idol. I was going to say George Clooney, but we won't go there because George Clooney had a hand in this. Don't forget. He had a hand in taking Biden down anyway. So 58% to Harris's 39%. I mean, oh my goodness. It's like they're gluttons for punishment. Are they just figuring, hey, what the heck? You know, let's just throw stuff out and see what sticks. We knew Biden was going to win anyway. We'll give this one a shot with her vomit green. Good luck, guys. All that said, I run scared. I really do. And I don't know what they're capable of doing. I mean, this one kind of blows me away. I did warn you though, didn't I? I kept saying they're going to try this, they're going to try this, they're going to try this. I kept saying there's no way they can run him. Why would you run this guy? How could you run this guy? I've said that for 2.5, maybe 3 years. And on top of it, they have no policy to run on. They have a mess of an economy. It's still inflation any which way you slice it. They're going to mess at the border. They're going to mess internationally. I mean, everything's just one big hot mess. I mean, maybe that goes with being Brat, the hot mess, get it? That just kind of owns it and is proud of being such a hot mess. I don't know about you, but I don't want the United States of America to be a hot mess. You don't want that. I don't want that. It's one of the reasons I started 76 Research, incidentally, a little plug for my company, my financial research firm, which I started because I care about you guys. I care about you. I care about me. I care about our future collectively. I want to make sure that people are looking out for themselves and for their families. And there's no real way to do that unless you are invested in the markets. One of the things I talk about so much is this inequity that you're seeing between capital and labor. In other words, labor gets no rights, has nothing. And capital has all the power in the world. And all they have to do is move jobs from here, there, to over there. And they continue to accumulate that power. Well, how do you become more powerful? You got to become the capital in some way, shape, or form. So if you're out there working for a living, you got to get that money to work for you. I mean it. I take it. Drew and I were just talking about this before I came on the air. I was looking at the market because, I look at the market every single day. It's part of what I do. But I always buy every week. I'm a big believer in dollar cost averaging into the market every single week, but I always like to get it when it's down. That's the bargain hunter in me. I'm going to give you a bargain here, by the way. I can't help it. It's ingrained in me. When I was a little kid, my dad would say to me, we'd go to Marshall's shopping, and he'd take me over to the clearance section, and he'd say, Trish, always make sure you buy clearance. It has to say clearance on the tag. That's how you know it's the best brand. I thought it was a brand for the longest time. I thought clearance was a brand, and I had to buy clearance because then I knew it was the best. So there's a little of that, you know, you can take the girl out of New Hampshire, but you cannot take the New Hampshire out of the girl, which is why I'm proud to bring you 76 Research, and specifically the 76 Report for $1 a month. It's our introductory rate. I'm not going to call it clearance, but you know, it's a great brand, but you get $1 a month. I mean, listen, you can't get anything like this. Rob Horton is my partner in this. I've known Rob for many, many years. We share a very similar outlook on the world, a very similar sentiment. I've been on this side of things. He's actually a stock picker, so he's run billions of dollars from mutual funds, and he picks, this is what he's done for the last 20 some odd years. He has an amazing track record, and I'm so thrilled to have the opportunity to bring you this kind of expertise, which you don't get. Like, you're not going to get that because, look, I've worked at Goldman. The Goldman Sachses of the world, the big investment banks, sure, they have research divisions, and they have positions, and there's someone up on high, and the bank's like, okay, this is our, it's like a network, right? Like, this is where we are, and this is what we're doing, and this is your script. You go off script, you can be in a little bit of a problem. You know, I have a friend of mine, David Rosenberg, who used to work at, I think he was at Bear, or maybe it was Bank of America. It was one of the big banks. No, forgive me, I think it was Bank of America, or Merrill Lynch. Whoa, okay, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. But anyway, it was a major, major bank. He was pretty bearish back in 2000, 2008, and he told me himself, he's like, listen, I couldn't do it. He said they were so angry because I was warning of this coming crisis. And I'm like, I get it. You know what? I worked at CBS at the time. I was trying to get a story on the air about the house of cards that was the subprime mortgage market. And they were like, why do you want to do that story? The market's at an all-time high. I'm like, because this is real. You got to pay attention to it. So sure enough, I was right. They were wrong. And I'm like, you know what? I've got to do more to help you guys, to use the insights I have, the knowledge I have, to help bring you some expertise. And this is what I'm doing with Rob. So you can get it for $1 a month for the first 2 months, and it goes to $9.95. The other thing that we have there are model portfolios where you get 10 to 15 stocks in each one. You can actually get what's called the Founders Package, which is the best deal of all. Again, the deal. Best deal of all for the Founders Package. And then you get all 3 portfolios, 10 to 15 stocks each, plus the 76 Report. So go check that out, because listen, these are crazy times. They just are. They're really, really crazy times. And they're willing to do anything to kind of get one by you. And what's amazing to me is how complicit the media is in all of this, as you just saw. In other words, oh no, Kamala was never the border czar. How dare you say that? And yet she was the border czar. You just heard it. CNN, furious that Donald Trump dares to ask, dares to criticize the Biden-Harris administration for not providing him with the proper security to ensure his life. I mean, this kind of seems like an obvious layup, and he's been really gracious about the Secret Service, but it's now come out that they were not providing him with the proper resources at these rallies. Maybe, shall we go out on a limb and say it's because they really didn't want him to do these rallies? Maybe it's because they didn't really want him to campaign. I mean, maybe that's why he got 91 indictments against him. Maybe that's why they kept him tied up in court day in and day out. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to bankrupt him. And then they said, oh, you're not going to get the security, I guess, that you need. But he went and did the rallies anyway, and now he's getting a little annoyed.